It's people are wondering, Corey, where you been, where
Where
Miranda's been.
I okay.
But really quick, this show is record. Is how did they say it in the Odd Couple? Remember the Odd Couple? The show is the
Being
intro.
recorded in front of a live
Yeah,
audience.
you're going to start the show and tell people, "Hi, Corey. You ready? Production at its best. One, two, three. You're live."
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the first introduction of today's Coffee Talk. There was definitely not an introduction before this that Stefan edited out because it made him look bad. There definitely was not.
It's Coffee Talk with ADIKA. Nothing rhymes with that but chicken tikka. We name drop here with Stefan and all his friends.
All right. Good morning, everybody. It is Coffee Talk, ADIKA Live. Thank you for tuning in. And for everybody new that's out there, we are a talk show. So celebrities, human interest stories, all that good stuff. Banter, comedy, and sometimes if it gets a little too real, you might want to check out. So, hey, disclaimer always, but there's that little button right below beautiful Miranda. So all you got to do is subscribe, hit that bell to remind yourself when we are on. Right now on the screen, Yulanda Williams. Yolanda, welcome to Coffee Talk ADIKA.
He left from being called plain old Jim to
Mhm.
then being called father.
I think we need to. I don't think the element of the story that should be emphasized is how evil Jim Jones was, as much as how vulnerable people are
People are.
to being
Mhm.
manipulated.
Yeah.
And I think, and I joked about QAnon before, but I wonder when you watch footage of the Capitol being invaded. Obviously, these are by racists, but do you have some element of sympathy for them?
Yes.
Yes.
Let me say this to you. My greatest fear was when Trump became president, because for me, he was the reincarnation of Jim Jones and Hitler.
Mhm.
His personality, his characteristics, everything was that of Jim Jones, because nothing was ever his fault. It's always everybody else's fault. Everybody made him have to do what he had to do. Those are all the excuses and the issues that came up in People's Temple. So the Q&A and all of them, they're nothing but a cult. Trump is nothing but a want to be dictator, and he has a following, and those are his followers. They're extremely dangerous. They have lost their own personal identity,
Mhm.
and they're willing to give their lives for a cause. And what the cause is, they don't even care.
Mhm.
They just want to follow and be told that they are good people by one person, Donald Trump. And by that same
Absolutely.
token, and by that same token, we say that I say Donald Trump is another Jim Jones. But at the same time, for me, what has been the telltale for me is that I got out of one cult, which was People's Temple. And then I got into law enforcement. Law enforcement is a cult too. I mean, I
Yeah.
have to be realistic about it. You follow the rules, there are rules and regulations. You
Mhm.
violate the rules, you get punished. Punishment can be verbal, or it can be something that can hit you a little bit harder. No, they're not going to beat you up, but they'll make you financially almost destitute if they have to, depending upon what it is you do. But they want you to think like they want you to think. They want you to do what they want you to do, and they don't want you to think on your own. And see, I can't live like that. I did that one time, and that was in People's Temple. So that's why, even in my career in law enforcement, it hasn't been the easiest thing for me, because I have a problem claiming and professing loyalty to one person and trusting them with my life, because nobody loves me better than me. They can't love me any better than me.
Yolanda, I want to ask you:
Hmm.
has this, and I know we spoke briefly, but religion, your faith, has this changed your mindset, jaded you a little bit after everything with Jonestown, just everything you've seen in life?
Well, I have to admit that I do not go to, or I'm not a member of any organized church, because as soon as a minister starts to get a little bit too much in my personal business as to how I should feel or what I should think or be doing, then that makes me back off, because I want to be an independent thinker on my own. Only thing I need a minister to do is to tell me what is the Christian things to do in life to be successful, and how I should respect and love my fellow man regardless of who they are. However, I find the majority of ministers wanting to also have that ultimate authority. And for me, I get it something I get a cringe, and it just makes me feel like I can't be here and I've got to go. And I have walked out of several churches in the middle of their services just because I wasn't feeling comfortable sitting there, and I didn't like what I was hearing them tell their parishioners. So for me, I still maintain my faith. I still believe that there is a higher being. I happen to call him God. Some people call him Yahweh. But it makes no difference who you call him, because the ultimate thing is I believe, in fact, that there is karma. And I do believe that, we have to treat each other with dignity and respect. So, um, church, you can have church at home. You can have church every day at home by yourself. You don't even have to have a whole bunch of other people
Mm-hmm.
with you. So I don't need any of that. I got the basic philosophy and indoctrination when I was growing up in my parents' home. So I don't need anybody else to reinforce that portion of it. And I can read, so I can read the Bible if I want to for myself.
I want to ask you, Yolanda. I'm sorry. When you, with your mother, how coming back from Jonestown, was there any "I'm sorry, oh my goodness," or was there any of that?
I was extremely apologetic to my parents, because we would not have gone over there if I hadn't been the aggressive one to tell Jim that I felt he needed to hurry up and get my family over there, because I was concerned that my husband was going to possibly leave the church and that my parents might consider leaving the church. So constantly I apologized to my mother for making that fatal mistake that
Mhm.
almost cost us our lives.
Yeah.
And I honor her all the time as my shero, because she put herself at risk to save the three of us when she didn't really have to do it. If she didn't want to, she could have just said, "You wanted to go there, you're there, so now you deal with it." But that wasn't the type of mother she was, and I'm always ever so grateful to God that I had such a loving mom that didn't hold it
Mm-hmm.
against me.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I wanted to say thank you for sharing your story, first of all, because it's easy to say that people who fall into a cult must have wanted to be brainwashed on some level, must have needed something to fill that gap. I think it's important to commentate on the fact that there was a culture that led you and your family to want to have care. That's how you wound up there to begin with, was care for your father.
Right.
And America doesn't offer care for people when they fall ill. They didn't in the 70s. They've never so far offered care. We don't take care of our people who are marginalized, people of color, black people. We don't take care of women, generally speaking. The fact that you are as strong and capable as you are now and have survived the police system, that's amazing to me. And I'm like I have hero worship a little bit because that's a lot to get through. And bless you for knowing where your inner compass is and how to speak up for yourself. And that is truly an inspiration. And it is shocking and revelatory and wonderful to listen to you. And as a recovered Southern Baptist, yeah, you can find God wherever you want him. You don't have to go to a church.
Here, here.
No.
Hey, Yulanda, I have a
Yeah.
question for you. Some advice. Do you have any advice for me on how to escape the cult of ADIKA?
Ha ha.
Just kidding.
Well, you know what I always say. I don't like to be in large group settings. You know, and if you really are being told how you should feel, what you should think,
Mhm.
and if you're being convinced that your identity, your personal identity, doesn't matter anymore, then those first should be some warning signs to you. And
Mhm.
if someone is always holding you responsible
Yeah, that's
for
me.
mistakes that they make,
Yes, that's me. That's totally me.
Yolanda, can I tell you something? You are a
yes, yes.
beautiful person, and I'm
Oh,
happy
thank you
I got
so
to meet
much.
you. Yes.
Well, it's my pleasure to meet you all, and I really appreciate what you do because it's very important that people understand that we are all just one step away from a cult. Jehovah's Witness, cult. Nation of Islam, cult. Scientology, cult. Anything you get involved in can become a cult. Even some of these sororities and fraternities, cult. Look up what a cult is. It is a culture. It's short for culture, first and foremost. And when somebody pays honor and homage to one person and one person only, that's the danger right there. And especially if you're fearful to leave because you don't want to be excommunicated, because you don't want to be by yourself. That tells you that you have lost your identity and you need to get some help.
Hmm. Amen.
Amen.
Yes. This was a very powerful show today. It was a great show.
Are we changing the name of
Beautiful.
it to Cult of ADIKA now?
I'm just gonna call listen to you. I'm just gonna call the show. Listen to today is listen to Yolanda because there's a lot of people out there that are just, especially now, what the world is like and being cooped up, being fearing
That's
these
right.
diseases, fearing the world, the news, this. Everybody's searching for something.
Watch
And
the TV evangelist
mhm,
and watch all of those conspiracy um, ideology. That is all just taking and draining from
mhm,
you to the point that you become a victim without even realizing it.
Yeah.
totally. What
Yeah,
about
Facebook is all like that. Things they don't want you to know. Things that you can't. The New York Times won't tell you. You know what the New York Times won't
Right.
tell you? Falsehoods. You fucking idiot. Sorry.
Exactly.
Corey? Sorry for the language, Yolanda.
That's
Corey,
okay.
it's
That's
not.
okay.
You know what, Yolanda? What about the politicians, the people that were supporting Jim Jones, the silent people that don't want to be
Oh my
heard?
God. We start with Mrs. Jimmy Carter, Willie Brown, Jerry Brown, Dianne Feinstein, um, George Moscone, the former chief of police during that time, Gaines, Charles Gaines, the district attorneys, all of the board of supervisors, BOAs, all of them. They worshiped him. They did whatever he wanted to do. All he had to do was pick up the phone and state what he needed, and it was going to happen.
It's crazy. It's crazy.
Mhm.
He really,
Mhm.
really manipulate the system. This man.
Like we even had Huey Newton's family as members of our church.
Oh my
We
God.
had Huey Newton come there once. We've had Angela Davis there multiple
Wow.
times. Dennis Banks, Ron Dellums. I mean, you name it. It was a who's who church. Okay, because if you wanted to see somebody famous, all you do was come to People's Temple, and at some point in time, somebody was going to walk in there that you fancied.
Wow. And you know what? You just made me a reminder. Living in LA, I remember the Scientologist building, and they'd be
That's
outside.
right.
And
And do you remember that the church that we had, it was either a Seventh Day Adventist church that we had made the People's Temple Church in Los Angeles, or it was an old Scientology church. It may have, but whatever it was, that particular church, that was where many, many, many illegal things happened right there at that church as well.
wow.
I mean, and that's the thing is when somebody starts to ask you to do stuff that you know is against the law, and
Mhm.
which he frequently would ask people to do that, and you do it, that's not somebody who loves or cares about you. That's somebody who's trying to manipulate a situation so that they can ultimately then determine what's going to be your fate.
I'm going to say something crazy here.
Wait,
Uh,
hold on. The show's doing really good. Please, I could
I
always edit
think
this.
I think that yeah, fine, but I think that that a lot of this cults having to do with religion could probably be taken care of by making churches pay taxes.
I agree with you. In fact, I think that the churches have survived on this tax free status far too long. And right now, we have a lot of cities and a lot of states that are going to be bellowing under, San Francisco being one of the major ones. So I really do think that churches need to start paying taxes. And I don't think being a minister should be tax free income anymore.
Well,
Heck, I
besides that, I mean
minister
the
to people
cult, the
all the time. I don't get free money for ministering to people.
Mhm.
but I don't think my point was that I don't think that the cult leaders or the potential cult leaders would be that interested in going to something unless they have the opportunity to hide a lot of the ways they earn money.
That exactly. And I'll tell you something. If you really check out the backgrounds of many of these ministers, you'll find out a lot of them have had a wayward beginning. And it's just interesting that the one thing that they can come back to in common is religion. Because, hey, that's the way where you really don't have to work. If you get a church that's large enough, the members will take care of you. And all you have to do is sit back and tell them something to make them feel good and officiate over weddings and funerals. And then you and visit the sick and shut in, and you have done your job. They tell you you're the best shepherd in the world. I mean, I could have been a minister. I probably made more money being a minister. But you know what? I can't play on people like that.
I love you.
I do too.
I love
I
you
do too.
too.
Yolanda, there's so
Yeah.
much to talk with you about. There's so much more. And you know what? And I want everybody in the chat and it's watching. Usually we pop it up because I'm going to edit this, of course, and all that good stuff.
Right.
This lady woke up early for us because it's not your time, but you look so beautiful today. I got to tell you,
You are
Yolanda,
Oh,
radiant.
thank
you look
you.
you look
Thank you.
beautiful. I don't know what do
Thank
you
you.
do? What's your secret? What's
I
your
don't know, but I'll tell you one thing. This is now my third chance at life. So that's what it's about, you know?
That's right. You jumped into one fire into the other fire. What is
That's
life now?
right.
Tell me.
I can't wait
Yeah.
to hear about the second fire.
I was going to ask you what life's about now, but Yolanda, will you come back and tell us?
Yes.
We'll do
Please.
part two with
Oh,
you.
absolutely.
You
I
will.
mean, I love to talk about police and reform and what it should really look like and what is defunding. Are we really
Yeah.
talking about defunding? You
Let's
know?
do that.
Yeah.
I
So
would
That's
love to.
such a misnomer. Yeah.
I
Yay.
would. I would
yeah,
love to have you back, and we're going to
yeah.
talk more. And I want to
Okay.
re-edit this and give you a
Let's
credit
wait
with
until
production.
there's an
Okay.
event in the news that involves the police. So two
There
days.
you
We'll
go.
have you back in 2 days.
All
Ah.
Yolanda, I want to
I
ask you.
love it.
Oh.
I want to ask you, how's life now with your beautiful? Before we get out of here, your beautiful daughter and your family. How's everything?
You know, I am very blessed because although my daughter was in Jonestown like some of the other children, she has truly been the most successful one. Most of the other young children have committed murders or some type of crime, so they're in jail or they have a criminal record. My daughter, fortunately, is a graduate of both. She's been practicing law for over 13 years, and she's been extremely successful. And she has six children of her own, three of
Oh,
which are in. One graduated from the university. One is graduating from University Davis this year, and her daughter is in USC. And the other three are still in, high school, middle school, and elementary school. So she's been extremely successful and resilient. And I attribute her resiliency, though, to the fact that we had a very, very strong family unit, which was something that Jim Jones constantly kept saying to me. How come he was not able to destroy the Williams family unit? And I said, because we were a God fearing family.
Mm, it's great. It's good. It's at
that's
least it's a good
beautiful.
happy ending right there.
Yes,
Yes. You know, I was you sent me a bunch of pictures and one we didn't talk about.
yes.
What happened to the monkey?
Oh my gosh.
Oh, Mr. Muggs. That's
Yeah,
Mr. Muggs. Mr. Muggs was killed over there.
he
Bless
was
his heart.
Mr.
Yes.
Mugg.
And Mr. Muggs was very sweet, a very nice, nice chimpanzee. And the clothes he has on there while he's pretending to drive the church bus are the types of clothes he would be dressed in on a daily basis.
Oh, Mr. Muggs. It's cute.
Yes.
Yolanda, you're wonderful. You really are. And you know what? Your
Well, thank
story
you.
helps others out. So
I
Yeah,
thank
hope
you.
so. I
It
hope
does.
so.
it does.
It does. We need it.
And Looney Tunes.
No, no, no. Be
But
careful what you,
yeah,
Mm,
Yolanda. Be
but
careful.
Well, that
yeah,
disqualifies
okay, yeah.
everybody over here.
pretty much. I just lost
Be
my
careful.
shot.
Be careful right there. You know what? And you know any of the lunatics that do watch our show, you're not gonna want
Yeah.
to mess with this lady right here because you know what? I think Yolanda's been through it all. She's not going to handle no nonsense right there. Yolanda, you're wonderful. Hold on one
Okay.
second before we get out of here.
All
Everybody,
right.
I want to thank everybody for watching. We are going to fix this up. I want to thank the internet gods for being so kind to me this morning and
The internet
embarrassing me.
gods.
They were not on my side this morning. There was somebody out there doing some things, but you know what? A proper introduction for this lady, survivor, just motivates you. You know, she's just a wonderful woman. Just you listening to you talk, you motivate me to be better. Now, just now, if I have a problem, I want to just call you up and go, Yolanda,
There
it's
you go.
Stefan. You know,
Oh, can you be
wonderful.
my
Well,
godmother?
call her by her
There you
correct
go,
name. It's
Miss.
Yulanda.
Yolanda.
Yulanda.
You,
Not Yo-
but I should go, Miss Williams, because I don't even have the permission. But a little thing about me, I say everything wrong, so forgive me. I speak
That's okay.
Brooklynese, but my heart's here, and I think I
Yes.
adore you, and thank you for sharing your story with us today.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
All
Yes,
right.
thank
Much
you.
love.
Everybody
Thank
else,
you.
everybody else out there, I'm going to roll the credits. Wait right here, Yolanda.
Okay.
I say everything wrong.
Okay.
Everybody, remember, we love you, and then all that good stuff. We will see you later. If I could find a production here. Goodbye.
It's coffee talk with the Tika. Nothing rhymes with that but chicken tikka. We name drop here. With Stefan and all his friends.
And remember, everybody, click up there, click down there, click over there, click over here, and share it. And give somebody a hug today. We love you. Mwah. Big mazel.